Okay, good morning, class 8. You've been doing your geography classes through the YouTube channel that has been created by the school. So we are going to continue with the same. So we are going to start with another chapter today, and that is changing face of the cities. This chapter is also related to your urbanization chapter. All right, so we are going to continue with the same. After which I'll be giving you some work, and you'll have to complete them like always. All right. So, like I was telling you, that changing face of the cities, we are dealing with the same chapter actually, which is urbanization. We've already finished the written work also, and I'm sure you all have understood, checked in the video, and understood the chapter. So we're going to continue with the same. So by now you've understood what is urbanization. Urbanization basically means the growth of towns and cities, growth in the population of towns and cities. When a village becomes a town becomes a smaller town, becomes a bigger town becomes a city, or a city becomes a metropolitan city, or metropolitan city becomes a megalopolis. The change is what is called urbanization. And the process of urbanization to take place, for the process of urbanization to take place, it is very important for population to grow. Only if there is population change will the village change into a town will change into a city. Okay, so likewise, in India, the population is increasing at a very fast rate. Okay, it is increasing into a very fast rate, because of which the many villages have now changed into towns, smaller towns have changed into cities, or in the process of changing, or towns have changed into cities. All right, and it is expected that by 20 years from now, or 10 years, let's say from now, 10 to 20 years from now, we are expecting that there will be 68 cities with 1 million population. Now here you need to understand that the population 1 million any city has, that city is categorized as a million city. You have it in your geofact here, which is very important for you to know. In India, there is only one city till now which is categorized as million city, and that is Mumbai. All right, so million city basically is what? It is a city with 1 million or more population or more inhabitants. So there are many other large cities in the world which is categorized as million cities, the names of which are given here. In Japan we have Tokyo. In South Korea we have Seoul. In Mexico City we have Mexico. USA we have New York. So these are the cities with higher population as in more than 1 million population. That's why they're categorized as million cities. Now we will have to, there are towns which are different. Okay, different in location, different in population density. So likewise, it has been they have been categorized into different cities, and we're going to deal with the satellite city and the smart city. These two are different, and we're going to deal with them one by one. Okay, so the first term that we are doing today is the satellite town. Now the satellite word, I'm sure you know what a satellite means. The natural satellite of the earth is what? Yes, it's moon. The natural satellite of the earth is moon. It is why have we taken the name satellite town, is because it is like the moon. A town emerges. Okay, a smaller town emerges near a big metropolitan city, or a big city, it emerges. Now, like the moon is dependent on the like the earth is dependent on the moon, the main bigger city will also be dependent on these smaller cities, for especially for labor. All right, and this satellite cities will emerge near these large metropolitan cities. These smaller towns will emerge because the population of the main city becomes so high that it can no longer support the population, any more population, but people do keep migrating into these cities. That is when they start to settle outside the city. Okay, they'll commute from that smaller city for job, maybe for any other purpose, and then that smaller city will be now called a satellite city. Okay, but the satellite city will be independent of all facilities. They have all the facilities that any other city can provide, but still those two, the satellite city and the main city, the main metropolitan or a megalopolis, will be interconnected in many ways. I am sure you've understood the concept. So let's see what is there in the book. The concept of towns, satellite towns, which is also known as what? A new town. It's a new concept in urban planning. Okay, to overcome the problem related to urbanization. Like I just told you that there are many uh, people who are trying and moving into a very big megalopolis which has many more facilities, better job opportunities, more income. So for that people move. But some of them, they cannot fit in that big city because of population growth or because it is too expensive. So in that case, there emerges a smaller town from where the people commute, which is cheaper, okay, for the people to stay in all respects. So that's how the satellite city has emerged. It's not only found in India, there are many other places in the world also where we have the satellite city. Now, as we move forward further, you will understand more in detail what satellite city means. So satellite city, I want you to underline this portion. A satellite town or satellite city refers to smaller metropolitan areas, okay, so smaller town you can say, which are located somewhere near to the main city, okay, but mostly they are independent of the large metropolitan areas, meaning they are not fully dependent on the main metropolitan city. Okay, they'll have almost all the facilities that a bigger metropolitan city will have, but they have emerged because of that big metropolitan areas. I hope you understood. Okay, so satellite cities develop when a town or a city reaches a certain limit of congestion and exhaustion. So this is what I was telling you, congestion and exhaustion meaning the population increases so much of the main big city that it can no longer hold any more population. In that case, but people want to work in those towns, in those metropolitan cities, because the job opportunities are more, money you get is more. So that's when people start to commute from a smaller town which will emerge near that bigger metropolitan areas. All right, these cities have their own identity, but are under the influence of the power of the megalopolis. So the main city, main bigger town or bigger metropolitan city for which this small town has emerged, they do depend on this bigger cities. All right, okay, satellite towns or new towns are developed as extension of a parent metropolis. Understand this, it is like an extension of the bigger town, because that bigger town can no longer hold the population. One second is it becomes very, very expensive for some population to settle in those areas. That's when the satellite cities emerge. So some of the examples, you need to know the names, are Rohini, Dwarka, and Narela as extension of Delhi, Navi Mumbai to Mumbai. You must have heard some of the names, if not all. Salt Lake, have you heard? Salt Lake City to Kolkata. So Kolkata being the main city, Salt Lake is the satellite city. Here, Navi Mumbai is the satellite city. Okay. So likewise, there are many more of all the other places. Now there are certain features which are important of the satellite towns. I'm doing it one by one, reading it out from the book and explaining it to you. So these satellite towns, they are small or medium-sized cities near the large metropolis. It has to be near the metropolis, but it will not be as large as the metropolis. It is smaller than that. And second is, they are partially independent from the metropolis economically and socially. So they will have most of the facilities, okay? Economically also they will be, and socially also they will be independent, but actually on the whole, you see, they're actually dependent on the metropolis. Metropolis will also be in turn dependent on these satellite cities. So most of the workers of the satellite cities come to work from the main metropolitan town. Okay, so these cities, these satellite cities, they commute from the satellite city to the metropolitan towns and cities for their work. The satellite towns provide certain employment opportunities and facilities, okay, for holidaying and relax. So this opportunities, let's say first, most important thing is for metropolitan cities, they give us job opportunities, better job opportunities, so people commute from the satellite city to these metropolitan cities. So there is frequent transport and communication services also between the metropolitan cities and the satellite towns, because people have to keep moving in, because both of them are actually interdependent. One is dependent on the other. Okay, so this is what your satellite city is. You can see it in the picture also. This being the main city, these smaller towns and cities, they emerge because of the facilities that are given in the large city. Okay, so that's this satellite city. Now we'll do the second type, and that's the smart city. Nobody is allowed, let's say, to get confused between the satellite city and the smart city. They are two different things. Okay, satellite city can be a smart city. The word smart itself means what? When you are using a smartphone, what happens? You are using a smartphone, you are becoming smart because it has lots of facilities that the other earlier phones did not have. So that's why we use the term smartphone, right? So exactly the way it is to also refers to the cities. A city becomes a smart city when it starts to use better technologies, better infrastructure. All right. So to keep two phones, one very old phone and one smartphone, you will understand the difference. Likewise, an ordinary town or a city and a smart city, that's the difference between the two is similar. So the smart city will have what? Will have larger facilities. All right, facilities in terms of infrastructure, in terms of services. Okay, so smart city, it has become very, very popular these days. So it's very important for you to know. So I'm thinking of doing the smart city in the next video, because I think it's going to be quite long if I do it in here. All right, so I'm going to continue with the smart city in the next video, which will be, I'll be sending you both today itself.